This is Mr. Martin. These are video notes for Pre-Calculus Advanced. We are continuing with the examples in section 7.3. We're working on identities. So for example 9, I want to look at 3 examples of factoring, because factoring is a pretty important technique when you're verifying identities or establishing identities, and when you're simplifying using identities as well. So for the first one, this is also a difference of 2 squares. So just to remind you, this is in the form of a squared minus b squared, and that's going to factor to a plus b and a minus b. And in this case, our a is 1 and our b is cosine x. So this simply will factor to 1 plus cosine x and 1 minus cosine x. So that's it for that one. Now for part B, it gets a little bit more difficult, and normally what I'll do is I'll rewrite this without the trig function. So I would rewrite this as 2x squared minus 7x plus 6, and then look and see how to factor this, and then once I factor this, I'll just substitute back in the trig function. So I know my squared term is 2x squared, so I know I have to have a 2x and an x, and I know that my constant term is a 6, so I can either have a 1 and a 6, or I can have a 2 and a 3. And normally I'll just kind of do it by trial and error and see what works. But I know, let's see, if I put in a 3 here and a 2 here, and it's got to be minus 7 and plus 6, so these either have to be both positive or both negative, so they've got to be both negative. So here's my negative 3 times negative 2 gives me a negative 6, and then I'll check the inner, that's minus 3x, and I'll check the outer, that's minus 4x, and that'll give me the minus 7x that I need there. So this will be a good factoring for this. So then I'll just go ahead and put back in my trig function, so I'll have 2 cosecant x minus 3 and cosecant x minus 2. So that'll be my factoring. Alright, and for part C, same thing. I'll take out my trig function, so I have 4x squared plus x minus 3. We'll work on factoring this. I know that this has to be a 3, so I know that this has to be a 3 and a 1. I know that for sure. And then for my 4 at the front, it can either be a 4 and a 1 or a 2 and a 2. And here's where you just need to try some options. And if it doesn't work out with the inner and the outer, try something else. So let's try a 4x and an x. And if I want this to be negative 3, I could put a minus here so that I get minus 4x, and put a plus here so I get plus 3x. Then I'll check my inner and outer. I get 3x on the inner. I get minus 4x on the outer, which would give me minus 1x, and I need a plus x, so that's not going to work. So let's try flipping these around. So let's make that a minus, and let's make that a plus. So this will be a minus 3x, and that'll be a plus 4x, so that'll give me the positive 1x that I need over there. Alright, so then this becomes 4 tangent theta minus 3 and tangent theta plus 1. So whatever factoring technique you like to use is fine. And if you have any questions, make sure you ask. And we will see you in example 10.